Are you a fan of myth stories? With this modern take, we will tell you an exciting story of a misunderstood deity. But before we start, let me share to you the origin of this story. Ancient Visayas worshipped and offered prayers to a variety of invisible beings. These could either be a Diwata or the spirits of their ancestors called Umalagad. This story of a deity comes from an epic chanted by the Sulod people from the Panay island entitled Hinilawod. Nagmalitong Yawa, Sinugmaling Diwata. Who is she? Born out of a night flower, she is seen by the ancient Visayans as both a malevolent deity and a benevolent goddess. Capable of steering lustful emotions from men all around her, whispers of her name fill the surroundings as she walks. She is Nagmalitong Yawa, Sinugmaling Diwata, the beguiling demoness and bedazzling goddess. Because of her beauty, men fall in love whenever they catch a glimpse of her. However, only one captured her heart, and that was Saragnayan, the Lord of Darkness. Nagmalitong Yawa and Saragnayan got married and became husband and wife. Unbeknownst to the happily married couple, a warrior named Labaw Dongon saw her image in his magic crystal ball and began to heavily desire Nagmalitong Yawa. He was eager to take ownership of her, to the point where he was willing to do anything just to get what he wanted. Thereafter, it was Labaw Dongon's sons who ended up killing Saragnayan. Anguished and distressed, Nagmalitong Yawa fled from their home, but before she disappeared, she cursed Labaw Dongon with madness and lovesickness. Because of this, he began to aimlessly wander around the world until his brother found him and finally took him home. Alas, no matter what Labaw Dongon or anyone did, nobody was ever strong or skilled enough to lift Nagmalitong Yawa's curse on him. Whilst this shows Nagmalitong Yawa's vengeful acts, a story in Hinilawod tells tales of her as a helper of good. During her exile after her husband's death, she learned how to live contentedly and in peace in the forests. She helped animals in need and wanderers who got lost. Once, a wanderer named Humadapnon, who was captured and imprisoned by the evil enchantress, Ginmayunan, was saved by Nagmalitong Yawa in the guise of a boy. When she revealed her true self to him, the two fell in love. However, Humadapnon left her alone to do more adventures and did not return for many, many years. As she waited, Nagmalitong Yawa found herself another suitor. She fell in love with Buyong Sumagulong and was about to marry him when all of a sudden, Humadapnon finally returned. In an intense uproar of rage at the sight of the woman he loves with another man, Humadapnon stabbed Nagmalitong Yawa to death. Fortunately, Labing Anyag, who was Humadapnon's sister, saved Nagmalitong Yawa and brought her back to life. Along with that, Labing Anyag bestowed her the gift of immortality. Traumatized and insulted by what Humadapnon did to her, she fled again. But this time, she went to the underworld to seek protection from her uncle Panlinugon, the god of earthquakes. She hid herself from Humadapnon by transforming herself into a pot. She was under the protection of Humadapnon's own brother, Amarota, but this ended up being the source of their feud once he found her again. That is, until Alunsina, their mother, appeared, and with a golden sword from Burigadang Pada Sinaklang Bulawan, cut Nagmalitong Yawa into two so she could marry both men and they would finally stop fighting. And this was how Nagmalitong Yawa, Diwata, became the origin of the first tales of bewitchment in ancient Visayas. Storytellers of yore will tell countless tales of male travelers being seduced by a woman in the forest at night, especially at the full moon, only to either never return in their own communities or be found in the heart of the forest as a rotting corpse or broken bones. The Visayans believed that this was the work of Nagmalitong Yawa, Sinugmaling Diwata, as her form of revenge to humanity for the death of her husband and their unfortunate end, all because of the lusts of men. Thus, even until today, men who would wander alone in the forest would be given protective amulets or anting-antings by their loved ones, in the hopes that with the use of this protection, the seductive goddess would be spirited away into oblivion without bothering anyone else no more. And that is how people in ancient Visayas came to believe the ever-fearful and seductive Nagmalitong Yawa Sinugmaling Diwata. But what they didn't know was that all she ever really wanted was to be loved.